Hey folks, my name is Mo Amir and this is VANCOLOUR, British Columbia's bona fide culture and politics TV talk show. Tonight, are we as good as we think we are? Is Canada broken? Is Vancouver truly a world-class city? Is British Columbia a good place to do business? To answer that last question, our first guest is the founder and general manager of this studio space, Oh Boy Productions, so I have to be nice to him, otherwise he'll lock me out next week. He is an award-winning broadcaster and a successful entrepreneur. You may recognize him as the host of Conversations That Matter, a long-form interview program that you can find on YouTube and right here on CHEK, Saturdays at 4:30 p.m., where he talks to business leaders and other community and political leaders. He is my friend, Stu McNish. Stu, thanks for making the long trip from the other side of that door. I appreciate it. So let's just get to business here. Is it really tough to be an entrepreneur or to do business here in British Columbia?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Now, let's recognize it's tough to be an entrepreneur anywhere.
Sure.
It takes a tremendous amount of gumption and gall to believe that you can go out and make something happen. Like, who do you think you are? I mean,
right.
In a way, it's so complicated.
You take on a lot of risk.
A lot of risk.
Yeah.
But it gets complicated in a jurisdiction like this.
Okay.
And in the sense that there are so many rules and regulations that work against getting a small business going. So I'll tell you, going back to when I first started, I got a call from the tax department one day saying, you need to pay us like now, tomorrow, next week, and the week after because you're in arrears. I go, well, I'm waiting for money to be paid to me by my clients. I don't have it in the bank.
Right.
Too bad.
Yeah.
Pay it now. Like whether you got paid or not. The moment you invoice, and as a small business, you go, well, how am I supposed to be able to pay that bill right now when I don't even have the money myself? That doesn't matter. And they go, well, you signed up for this. You must have known what you were getting into. No, I had no idea. And that would just be one thing.
Right.
And then you start to layer in so many other things that are designed to protect everybody but the business owner. And yet politicians, banks, unions, all sorts of organizations run around saying, oh, yeah, small business is the backbone of our economy. And we're there for them, except for the fact that they're not.
Right. Now, that doesn't seem particularly unique to British Columbia. So when we think of the BC context, how easy or tough is it to do business here?
Well, there's a couple of different elements to that.
Sure.
One would be the rules and regulation side of it. And then there's others, who are you going to have as your clients? Now, so depending on what kind of business that you're in, if you're on the retail side, for instance, you've got every single rule and regulation there is that's all designed to protect employees, and they should be.
Sure.
But none of those safeguards are in place to protect the employer.
Right.
The person who's taking the risk. So a politician will come along, and I found it very interesting. There's a fellow, Paul Dragon, who has Reckless Rider, great guy. When we were doing an event with Premier Eby recently, I had him ask a question on camera, and he goes, Mr. Premier, like the government comes along and suddenly adds another stat holiday. So now I have 2 stat holidays in October, one weekend after the other. But nobody says to me, and here's how you're going to pay for that stat holiday. He said, where does it come out of? It comes out of the bottom line of the business.
Right.
And these businesses are running thin all the time anyways. But the politicians or the policy makers don't think that, okay, we're going to create this policy and it'll all be fine.
Right.
The problem is it's not all fine. And now take a look at the number of restaurants, for instance, that are closing, that have been in business for more than a decade or two, and the structure of city taxes, the changes in tax rates, both provincially and now federally.
And the cost of land.
And the cost of land all add up and make it almost impossible, to make a profit. And if you're not staying ahead of the bills, and it's not that a lot of people go into business going, I'm going to be rich. It's like, no, this is what I have a passion for. I see an opportunity in the market and I want to make it work. But it only works, especially over time, if there's money that's going into the bank account that can create a cash reserve and allows the business to keep growing.
Right.
But the average person doesn't think about what's that cycle of money, where do you get it from, how quickly does it come in, how fast does it have to go out, what percentage to this government, this agency, WorkSafe, and on and on and on. And it all starts to pile up.
Right. But British Columbia has created some big companies, right? You can think of Lululemon on the retail side. You can think of innovative tech companies like Sanctuary AI or Stem Cells Technology. So clearly it's not that bad, or it's not uniquely bad here in BC, right?
Well, you're talking about the remarkable spirit of extraordinary entrepreneurs. Jimmy Pattison would be another one. Joe Siegel, look at what he did now over time. And yes, what Vancouver is really good at is incubating ideas. There are so many other companies that probably could have been another Stem Cell or Lululemon. We've got Aritzia as well. We've got the Mark Anthony Group. But a lot of those, so if we take a look at Mark Anthony, Lululemon, Aritzia, and whatnot, they're here. And I think they're here because there's an emotional attachment to Vancouver. You ask Jimmy Pattison, why do you stay in Vancouver? Because I love Vancouver. Is it the best business decision? No. But these are companies that did grow through passion and, investment from outsiders and whatnot who all believe in this concept. But what did they do? They started here, but their real growth is elsewhere. So Stem Cell Technologies, there's a remarkable story of a company in the biotech sector that's buying American biotech companies and making them Canadian, whereas the trend here is that there could be 100 different biotechs that can grow to some sort of significant size, but they never really get beyond that incubating stage before they're bought up by Americans or other interests who then take them away.
Oh, so we're basically losing a lot of these companies. We lose a lot. Talent.
There's a brain drain, talent drain, innovation drain that leaves BC.
Wow.
Because once you reach a certain threshold, British Columbia is no longer a great place to be.
Right.
As a small business, if you make less than $600,000 net, you really do have a good tax rate, a provincial tax rate,
right.
2%. But the moment you go to $600,005, it jumps to 12%.
Right.
So you got to see a huge increase in your net profit before you realize a benefit, because you now have this heavier tax burden. Then add on top of that, you go, okay, now I need to start to attract world-class talent. Well, I want to bring those people in. But they're going to cost me $200,000, let's say, a year. And the tax rate here is above the 50% threshold. Well, that person may be able to say, well, I like the Pacific Northwest, but if I take my job in Bellingham, or more importantly, Seattle, I'm going to keep an awful lot more of that money.
Right. And I might be able to afford a house and have a little yard.
And go on vacation and have a second car or whatever else it is.
Right.
And so talent also makes the decision about, well, do I really want to be there when I can be 150 kilometers away and keep a significant portion of my money in my pocket rather than in the hands of government?
Fascinating. We have about 30 seconds left. So really quickly, if someone comes to you and says, hey, I want to be an entrepreneur, I have a business idea. Should I start a business here in British Columbia? What do you tell them?
Think long and hard about it, because it will be one of the most thrilling, but definitely one of the most difficult adventures of your life.
And uniquely difficult in BC.
More so than anywhere else that I know of.
Interesting. Stu, a pleasure. I'm so glad we're able to do this. Thanks so much for your time tonight.
My pleasure.
Folks, the man behind Conversations That Matter and this very studio space, Oh Boy Productions, he is Stu McNish. Now up next, is Vancouver a world-class city? What does that even mean? Let's talk about it up next.